thank you for joining us for week 8 of the Let's Stay Together campaign. This week we thought we would connect in with our colleagues in Draíocht. So today I'm delighted to be joined by Emer McGowan, who's the director of Draíocht. Draíocht is a multi-purpose arts venue in the heart of Blanchardstown in Dublin 15, and it offers theatre, dance, contemporary visual art exhibitions, community education and outreach programmes. It has established itself as a vital part of the expanding and diverse cultural life of Dublin 15 and welcomes over 50,000 people a year. So Emer, welcome and thank you for joining us today. Emer, you've faced a very challenging time with the closure of Draíocht, and now you face a new set of challenges as we enter the reopening phase. Just before we discuss the reopening of Draíocht, I just wanted to get a sense of how you, your staff and artists have been directly affected by the closure. Only yesterday, President Higgins raised the issue of the employment crisis in the arts and cultural sector, and he has responded by writing to the heads of European institutions with an urgent call to support cultural institutions and workers. So, Emer, what has the experience been for you and your staff over the past 12 weeks?
It's been a really difficult time for us, Sarah. I think for us, like on the 12th of March, we shut down. As you know, we had a show in Honk by a local school. It had just opened on the 11th of March, and then on the 12th we had to call off the show, and that was an awful thing to have to do. And obviously we had to. But it's just, you know, that kind of first emotional impulse of just going, oh my God, all of those children, all of the work that they put in, all of the work the teachers put in, and we just had to pull the whole thing. And then on the 16th of March, which was a Monday, I went into Draíocht and I closed the building to the public at around lunchtime. And that was really tough on all of us, I have to say, as a staff team. Draíocht is a really well used and well loved art centre, so to not have anybody in it is just really strange for us. We continued to work as in Draíocht on a roster situation according to the guidelines until the end of March, and then we were all told that we couldn't do that anymore, and I suppose we just had to adapt from working from home. And I suppose the thing for us was really around two things, I suppose. One is around connection and the other is around communication. And I suppose for us, the connection was amongst the team, both the full-time team and the part-time team, and also to our artists, and then the whole communication piece around with the public. So it was a really hard thing to do when, as you know, Draíocht is so busy all the time. You know, it is an incredibly well-used building, and that's the way we like it. You know, so to actually not have anybody there was just really strange. And then at that point, because we had to cancel program, I had to put our 13 part-time staff on temporary layoff, and then the full-time team, we are all availing of the COVID payment. So yeah, it's been tough, and I suppose the thing, that whole notion of connection and communication has been extraordinarily important for us over the last 12 weeks. You know, internally as a team, but also that kind of facing outward piece as well. You know.
Yeah, that's really difficult. I remember being there on the Monday. Actually, myself and Rory popped in just to get a coffee and have a chat, and you were having to make some very tough decisions, you know, there and then. And at the time, some of it probably seemed a little bit premature, but actually they were completely the right calls that you were making. It takes real courage to make those decisions in a time like that.
Yeah, I think there is that point where you do have to just live your role and go, you know, I have the role that I have, and you have to make those decisions, and you have to make those decisions with the information that is available to you. And of course, as everybody knows, it's all about keeping people safe. You know, that was really the driving force. I just wanted to keep everybody safe in terms of all of my staff, including the public that use the space, you know, and that was the thing that you just have to sometimes you just have to do it and just go look at it and go, right, this is it. This is what I have to do.
Yeah.
So I suppose the one of the things that we weren't in it alone, so there
Yeah.
was great comfort in that, and that I knew it wasn't just Draíocht, that this was something so beyond our control, that actually, we just needed to respond to the circumstances which we found ourselves.
Mm-hmm. So, Emer, we're in phase 2 this week. So, moving towards kind of the reopening of business and society and getting back to some sort of norm, whatever that is. But there was also the announcement of the acceleration of the roadmap. So, I wanted to see how that has affected your planning. And perhaps it's even a little bit too early to say because you were working on the 5-phased approach. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about that, what you and your team are facing.
Sure. I mean, I was really delighted to hear about the acceleration and kind of phase 2 plus as it's been described. But actually, the reality for arts organisations is that we have to put plans in place, and those plans take a little bit of time. So when the guidelines came out in terms of the first to the 5 phases, I had put a plan in place and had communicated that clearly to the team, whereby we would open our gallery as was allowed under that original plan on the 20th of July. Our theatre could be open from the 10th of August if we can adhere to socially distance guidelines. So actually, in terms of us, what we're now going to do is that we are opening the building on the 29th of June. That was always the plan. Our Beaten-Nut, who is our cafe, they will open as allowed on the 29th of June. And actually, we are going to use those first few weeks of opening, so that from the 29th of June until the 8th of July, to gather the work that we've been doing over the last period of the shutdown. We've been working with children on a project called Show Us Your Art. So we're using that time to allow the children and families to come into Draíocht and drop off their artwork, because we are opening the gallery on the 20th of July with an exhibition of work done by local children.
Okay. So just on that, Emer, I suppose you would always say that Draíocht is not just an art centre, that it's part of the community, and you're an integral part of the community, and that your work goes far beyond your programme of events. And from its very inception, Draíocht was born out of a demand by the local community. So you're very much embedded, and you've got a particular focus, as you've mentioned, on children and young people. So I kind of just wanted to find out a little bit about how you have tried to maintain the connection with your artists and with your audiences. And as you've just highlighted there, the Show Us Your Art was one initiative. But maybe just talk a little bit about other things that have been going on, because I know the Draíocht staff have been so busy over this past 12 weeks.
Yeah, we really have. I mean, we have adapted to working from home, but I think we're all looking forward to going back as well. Yeah, I suppose the thing for us is that we are both artist-centred and public-centred, and that's our role, is to support our artists and to support the public, and really to, I suppose, bridge that connection and make those connections between those two groups. So we have maintained relationships with all of the artists that we work with. We have honoured all of our agreements. We have continued to work with them, and quite a number of them, they've really been amazing how they've stepped up and worked with us and put quite a lot of their workshops online. And that's a whole new world to many of us. We don't, like, the arts are about connections, we are about looking at each other, being in the same space, really enjoying that relationship, that, whether that's between a facilitator and a group of children, or between an artist, a performer and an audience, or, whatever that is, we are about that connection. So the online space has been really useful, but it's also challenging in terms of having that real connection, I think. Our artists have been amazing. They have worked with us. They have come along They have delivered on the workshops that we've asked them to do. Our youth theatre facilitators have been working with our youth theatre every week on Zoom. Our Create Dance facilitators have been doing workshops for our Create Dance kids. So we've found ways to keep connected, both with our artists and with the different types of publics that we serve, because we just don't serve, one homogenous mass. The audiences are not one homogenous mass. There are different kinds of audiences and different kinds of engagement that we do. So yeah, so we've done quite a number of things. We actually revisited the home theatre project that we did in 2018, and we put all those videos up again so people could revisit those, given that everybody was stuck at home. We thought, right, we'll bring theatre back into people's houses that were filmed in people's houses. And we've done really a huge amount of work in terms of the children, young people's piece as well.
So I guess just around the practicalities and the social distancing measures, obviously that's going to really greatly affect capacity for you. And with reduced capacity, what do you think what's it going to look like? I mean, are you having conversations with your promoters, your artists, as to how this is going to, be in real terms, what people are going to experience? Yeah. And I guess first and foremost, you've got to have the safety of the public and the artists at the forefront as well. But you want them to have a good experience.
Absolutely. And it is, I go back to that thing earlier, that it is all about connection. The arts are about connection. And it is about the collective. And I think that's one of the things that we've all missed during the pandemic, the fact that, people are in much smaller groups, whether it's their household or, meeting very small groups of friends, so it is that sense of collective that we're all missing as well, I think. And I was really keen that once we were informed by the government that actually we, theatres could open if we could adhere to the guidelines, I was really keen to do that. And I suppose the thing for Draíocht is that we have a brilliant building in that we have a lot of space in the building. So actually, one of the things about Draíocht is that we can quite easily facilitate that socially distant piece. So in terms of our foyer space is big. So, we can have our hand sanitizer units and our videos with the the instructions about social distancing. We can bring back the seats in our main space, and our plan in terms of the performance piece is to have cabaret style seating, so tables with 4 seats around, where a household or people who are in the same social bubble will be able to book for a performance. So we're really keen to do that, and we've been working really hard over the last few weeks in terms of doing all our risk assessments, in terms of getting all of our PPE in place, getting all the signage ready to go. And also that whole thing about me talking to our promoters, to agents, to individual artists, and just trying to figure out what that feels like for them and if they are interested in coming back. And I have to say the overwhelming feedback I'm getting is that they cannot wait. It's been really tough on artists. It's been really tough. Like whole seasons have gone for people in terms of income. And income obviously incredibly important, but actually if you're a performer, your creative drive is to engage with an audience in that way. So for that to be taken from you is really, really tough, So I've had lovely conversations with people. We all recognize the difficulties and the challenges. But actually everybody's really willing to work together because we really want it to happen. Yeah. So I suppose, at the moment, going on the current social distance measure, we can only facilitate a max of 68 people in our main space, which is down from the usual 286. So that's a really big drop. I am really hoping that over the next few months, and hopefully there isn't a second wave, that distance will be brought down to a metre. And if that happens, we will have a programme in place that can respond to that really quickly.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yes, your fingers crossed that because in terms of revenue, it's going to affect you as well. The reduced
no,
capacity.
absolutely.
But for those people that will be part of the 68 or whatever that book for events, it'll be a very intimate and lovely experience for them, which is unique to get, isn't it? Albeit.
Yeah, it really is. And I think the thing for Draíocht as well, we're really proud that we're a local arts centre. That's a really important thing for us. And the fact that, the beginnings of Draíocht came very much from a demand from our local community is something that we hold really dear, So, we know quite a lot of our audience as well. And we do think that those people who know us will feel confident in the measures that we have put in place, so that they'll know that they're going to be really safe when they come into the building. And not only will they be safe, but they'll have a really good experience as well.
So Emer, then just to touch very briefly then on just what people can expect to say in this first week. You did mention the Shows Your Art. So I take it you're inviting all of those young people that have been making art over the course of the 12 weeks to come in and show in the gallery, the main gallery. And then I know that you had also scheduled, am I correct in saying, a graphic studio for their 60th anniversary. I think it's called Making Art. Is it Making Art, Making Print?
Printing.
Printing.
Yeah.
Making art, printing. And you were featuring Fingal artists in that show. So the likes of Pamela Leonard, Robert Russell, Serco Farrell, Susan Early, a whole host of great Fingal artists. Des Kenny, who's from Dublin 15. So I'm guessing that the hope is to open the graphic studio show as well. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, the graphic studios show was actually installed. It had just been installed before the lockdown. So that exhibition has actually been in our first floor gallery with no one to see it for the last few months. So so the plan is when we open on the 20th of July, we'll have the Shows Your Art exhibition in our ground floor gallery. And the graphic studio exhibition is also available to see from the 20th of July. And then the Making Printing exhibition, which the graphic studio forms one part, that will open on Culture Night, which is, I think, Friday the 18th of September. So we will take down the Shows Your Art exhibition, and then we will install the 4 artists who are participating in the Making Printing exhibition in the ground floor gallery. And then that exhibition will run from mid-September then to mid-January 2021.
Great. Well, there's lots to look forward to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're just really looking forward to being back. We just want to be back in the building and open our doors and have people come back in, and to see our artists again. We just want to go back. It's
but you're greatly missed. You are.
Oh I mean, I have to say, Sarah, that's been one of the things that has been so amazing to me over the last while. I mean, the conversations that we're having with people, that April, May, June period is really prime for end of term productions by various schools, and actually it's all of those children, all of those local children and young people who just won't get a chance to do that this summer because we just can't facilitate it, and it is that thing, the role of a local venue, we have many roles, I suppose that's the thing for me, is that we can provide a really variety of points of connection for people, and that some of that is around children and young people performing on their local stage, and how important that is and how formative that is, and I've been talking to people, and some of the people who organise those shows, and they can't even bring themselves to say it's been cancelled. They keep saying it's postponed, and the reality is that it's postponed till next year.
Yeah.
But it's just like the investment in it is
Mm.
extraordinary by people, you know.
But I
Um,
think it's a testament, Emer, it's a testament to the work of you and your staff and the programming, and how, as an arts centre, you are very much embedded within the community. You really live and breathe that, not just an arts centre, part of the community. And that has borne through during this period.
yeah,
And how you've tried to, as you say, maintain all of those connections, both with your artists and with the community. So, I mean, you and your staff are to be commended on working in these very difficult times, and, you know, reinterpreting the work and how we engage, because it is very difficult. The arts are about something that's, you know, it's something you say, you experience, you feel, you,
yeah,
it's not a virtual online. Like, this is so alien to us, you and
yeah.
I, having to even sit here and have this conversation like this.
But it's
It's
all, and
not
it's
what we're used
shared,
to.
Sarah. I think that's the thing for me. It's a shared experience, you know, like we've all been to, you know, shows or gigs, or, you know, even if we're in a gallery space, which it can be a kind of a more solitary experience, you know. And actually it's those points of connection with other human beings, you know, that's the thing that drives us, you know. Those moments of kind of collective recognition or joy, or, you know, just looking at the world in a different way. That's so important, and that's what the arts do. So, you know, the online thing has been fantastic in many ways, but it's never going to take the place, you know, it's never going to
No.
take the place of that kind of live,
Yeah.
you know, that live experience. It just won't. And I suppose the thing
Mm.
for me as well is that I think the pandemic has just really shown, you know, how important the local is. You know, I know we're all, you know, the world is very small, you know, we all know that, you know, we're very connected through, you know, social media and technology, but actually, you know, local is really important, you know, those connections are really important to all of us. So, and there's great beauty in that, you know.
Yeah, there is. There is. Yeah. Yeah. It slowed us all down to look at exactly what's on our doorstep. You know, we
Yeah,
don't need to go very far at all. And
yeah.
the quality of the work that is around us.
I think, you know, Fingal County Council have just been an extraordinary support to Draíocht over the years. I mean, we are absolutely part of that Fingal family, and we're very proud to be that. We work really closely with our colleagues in the Arts Office. But throughout all of this period of the lockdown, the team in Fingal have just been, I suppose, by our side and keeping in touch, and just, you know, letting us know how things are going from their perspective. And, you know, that kind of two-way conversation has just been really useful. And I suppose I really just want to acknowledge Fingal's support over the last few months, and how amazing that has been.
Yeah, thanks for your time today. I really, really appreciate it.
No problem.
And as I say, you and your staff are completely to be
Yeah.
commended on all of the work that you've been doing. So thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us again this week. And I hope that gave you an insight as to what we can expect in Draíocht coming into the autumn, and as they begin to reopen the galleries, and we'll be able to experience some art in the real world again. So join us again next week. Thank you for watching.